Kengema Kalabari, Simbibi Olam. Me the Biwapiki Simbote. Wabo sin Toluma Digi Bebum. Wamna Mia Mate, Wakomna Troko Krumata Emma. Amayanabo Abe, Waripumena, or a Madamek, or a Madak in Gadamek Bulmae, Wapis in Kibo on a Troko Kuram Bude. Bienbo, Wa Ambetaranga, Kodite, Menguapi Mankramangake, Udi Bute. Yere Ekome Dabrumabo, Yere Dokubo, Denton. E Namonjo Piki Studio Imebo, Ibifite Rebo.
Your confidence, Harry.
Kengema Kalabari. And whether it's member of one mure. Ben Wadugaima, Saki gote wine dan Dugumu Kunumala. Moko, Wabolanga, Wabin Wakom na Troko Kuma. Alabo Eken. Ben Benebaka or Wamne Studio Bo Sake Bo. Odiri Pamba ke wana Troko Kruma te bem. Wamna presenter boy borbo and go pakama cheke Kalabari me pre. Saki gote wainete anengba gwe pakambote wa area ma memba wapa sin toluma digimewe mi be rese. Wa be memba yewa anke omna troko kruma. Diri pamba me abre mite ago pakamate Kalabari ereba. Menapo yo apeke damalis Ferdinand go bye ma digi omela mam.
Yeah, borbo ngera na ki probare minese. Oribe statement me go. Menga Chief Jacob Tom Prince we. Yes, so jinsa kanera inate. Ane tubo.
Ane amana go.
Menga mebo okay me go.
Menapo me one imbreve dugari me diri pak go keora ye ago pakamate one member one. I am the representative of King Abbi Amakri 5. I am also representative of Amakri of Old and Amakri 111. The images of Amakri 111 and Amakri 4 are in my possession. The house in dispute could not be called Abbi Minjibiri Aro. It is in the house Abbi created first. Abbi created it and was the chief in charge of it when he was made king of Kalabari. His own house was still with his. He gave the chieftaincy to Dikio and gave him people to man the house. The people King Amakri IV gave to Dikio and Dikio's own people manned the house. After Dikio's death, the king appointed Misol, Dikio's son, to be in charge with all the people as they were when Dikio was in charge. When Dikio was in charge, except Egba, Ojuka and Atempaka, brother.
Egba,
all
Ojuka and Atempaka.
Except Egba, Ojuka and
Egba, not Egba.
Okay.
Egba,
except Egba, Ojuka and
Atampaka.
All the other chiefs now existing were not members, were not chiefs yet, rather. They were then in the crown house as members. They were also members in Abbi's own private house when he was in charge of it. After Dikio's death, Misol K. Dikio's son refused to be head of the house. The king was annoyed and told Misol that the house was given to his father as a gift. King Amakri IV then left all the people that manned the canoe with Dikio's son and removed only the chieftaincy from him. Sometime after the late chief Okorosa was given the chieftaincy, the king called Charlie Amakri.
The king did what?
Okay. Sometime after the late chief Okorosa was given the chieftaincy, the king called Charlie Amakri, Tom Princewell, and Okorosa and informed them that the small canoe he gave to Dikio, he had removed it from Meso. Okorosa should then take the chieftaincy and to man it by himself, and to take people from Degema known as Jack Okorosa, then became a founder of the house because it was a gift to him. The king was in a position to make any present. He could make gift of war canoe land, body of men, etc. Okorosa was very important to the king because he was his father's steward. After king's father died, Okorosa traded for the king and made a lot of profits for him. That was a trade tax time, and by that the chief prospered. Even the king's tax taxon refused to pay tax for the king, but Okorosa on this account, if the chieftaincy was not given to anyone before Abbi Minjibriaro, because it was his first working, it should be called Abbi Aro. But in as much as it was given to Okorosa, it has no other name but Okorosa House. Okorosa was in charge till he died. Abbi died first. After Okorosa died, Walter was appointed by Okorosa's house members, who then brought him to Abbi native court. Who then brought him to Abbi house chiefs and people, and they all took him to the town chiefs and to the native court as the head of Okorosa's house. Chief Okorosa's native court warrants and subsidized were given to Chief, I can see here clearly, Chief Okorosa the Water, if I'm correct. If the chieftaincy was not Charlie Amakri, Chief Tom Princeville, and many others were alive, Chief Walter, head of the house till today. In 1935, when the intelligence report was being written and that the history of each house should be given to the DO, the Abbi had a meeting. There are 15 working houses in Abbi house, and the chief of Okorosa house was put down as Okorosa house. After our meeting, then we joined Karibo house chiefs and made the both list in one. The district officer asked the clan as whole as to the correctness of the intelligence reports. It is therefore not necessary to bring up this matter again 2 or 3 months after the intelligence reports. Then Honest Principal made a complaint to me. Mr. Principal said it was wrong to name the house Okorosa house as his mother and himself were members in that house. He would therefore ask the government to amend the intelligence reports and ask me to help him in the matter. I told him not to do so, that the condition in which his mother and himself were members in that house could not make them to inherit it. I told him that Opokio's people are members in Tom Princeville's house, not that they were owned by Tom Princeville, but because they preferred to be with him. That the something applies to him and his mother. That if he refrained from making palaver, he might one day have the Kenu to be the head of that house. That I should have been the first to claim Abbi house if there was any reason for it. Should I go further?
It's okay.
That's the end of the video.
Tomorrow you do get a bracket.
Karibo succeeded King Amakri. He was one of the younger sons of Amakri. Before his death, Amakri, I gave Karibo to be brought up by Ombo, Amakri's influential protege. Amakri, I did the same with another of his younger son, Ekine, who he entrusted to Odun, also an influential Amakri protege. In fact, Ombo and Odun were the foundation stones of the existing chieftaincy installation in Kalabari. Amakri, I saw to this before them. Principal leaders in the communities were identified as heads or important members, as the case may be, of the original 7 sections of the island. On the death of Amakri II, members of the 2 chieftaincy stools of Ombo and Odun physically clashed, each group making its determined bid to place their own word on the death of Amakri II, members of the 2 chieftaincy stools of Ombo and Odun physically clashed, each group making a determined bid to place their own word on the vacant throne. The Ombo group.
Yes, go ahead.
The Ombo group ingeniously outmaneuvered. Ingeniously.
Go ahead.
Outmaneuvered their opponents and ensured that their candidates, Karibo, was the first to have access to the shrine of Amakri.
Now, was the what?
Was the first.
Was the
first to access the shrine of Amakri.
Yes.
To to perform the exclusive and crowning rites of the coronation ceremony, namely Namapele,
So and them what do gari.
slaughtering of he-goats before the
Moko
shrine.
ya wa ingeniously me. Wa me ando ki komantifie. Ingeniously me. Antifie. Yerika o midire me o buguma yani 100 years. Yanete. Yerika. So Kalabari na manga brame ana dugi pre be me se. Wa borbrake amadame nyana. Why na wala dobra ne? Emo somutemu na apeleta bebe mba matate. Imo somutemu oyibra ikodubule I clashing no som. Moko ba pikisi mo owuso to afiba.
Kenga Kalabari wabo latanga arekwen pamba meke wamnembra confidence are prete adimed wete pufinji bra mete wanimiba. Embra confidence ngira adimed dugu bra ndika ndigi bra.
Dirime ani dugo bra na ampiki go bra na why bokuma ani fi now. Me na mapele me. Na mapele bube ora pele bra ani obo wusakia. Dirime warite dugo bra elim sake ama ena bok fite ani kala igbani apaka busake so. Borbo mutemu na mapele.
Ane ifier mne Kalabari na mamebu jene mapo amada krigote igbana yenya na te o soto no woro no miete jumo na brote mu war meso de na mapelete.
Yeri fia dirime yeni na ne kopoki. Yeri fia dirime dugom mine jini mesti pakate. Te na mapele bobe inoke amane na bosoma yeri duga. Ankuma yeri ambo ayana te dugo bari ofori. Dirime dugo ye wa gbomate ibyokuma na te. Wa wuso Kalabari ngise prete. Inke inaye meme bra, inke ye ke orutonton bra ke orutomba. Adgo bari weje borufori.
Ngwana kenga Kalabari wamnembra dugo ye wanate. Are bem ambo ayana te dugo wasama wa prebari ofuri kuma. Emba ala obem nese dirime so riga o ge krotete okegbom wa go wasama Kalabari ngise mepre. Menapo omiete. Magbere mite ape kom na troko kuno me doke. Dirime bio ange kro remne bre kon bibi emi te bre kon re te dugo remne. Abe ware mes sveda e kasemebo legi babona legi biabona okosme bre kon emi te dugo remne. Okorosa me ware me sveda e yomeke. Sveda ni biye. Embra confidence. Inde I digibra.
Dirime bo ani kete kuma rapiki ani guarite. Abi ingada mebo legini bubane te wari make menji troko mugi bubane okurusa ane dirime warite dugo bra. Ankuma mokumebo alawo Charles Dolphin ane wari make say die. Me megbolo maye bo so wani bre alabo alajasari Dokubo. Odigote obemne alabo Charles Dolphin wari make say die ni bia. Mene okurusa ane wari make semida ni biye. Ani bobo I be pelema ani bobo alabo ikema ina bo ekwensake wayeme fompaka masake opiki mu alabo iken dugo yeme sugo opiki yekeure yeme ago oprite opiki
Ngwane srasrama and dokite go te Kalabari ere. Kenga Kalabari ayeme doker ago wamne presa ke. Opeke yaote mema wamne pokite ambio akan gibra nimi. Konga confidence Kalabari ipoke.
me wanimbre alabo mujahid Dokubo asari modboyi wanimbre alabo mujahid asari Dokubo o bilipakri ekem teke alabo Innocent Charles bilipakri obeb apkigoba. The king does not have the right, since his father, Da Abbi, Benibo Prince Amakri, had given his stool to Da Okurusa. For that reason, anyone on the Da Abbi stool in the Okurusa lineage is the paramount head and the chief of the Abbi house. Akuma, Da Okurusa warime ane Abbi ngana make say da ni bravo. Da Okurusa warime inkobrisite nate ingredient.
Jene mana, yere so anike kele mema kuruma buswe. tokrum mene tokruma ina ne kesbe dani bie te amana ojumo tonte wari po me kesbe dai min kubri sinte ba mese me o wana la lani bikri me o wana lani biakri te metan bagay min gote mumna mi kubri mesia yi anem moko so wadi Kalabari se dugote ke wapre kenga ma Kalabari omna mbetul ma digite ye dugo ke wapre omete
idugo fanta yeri asin dugo bari ofuri Kalabari ite kon
kenga ma Kalabari moko wabo langa ne wabim wa Kalabari TV me wa sekri wa me dugo fiji opre embra confidence wa me Kalabari TV me inda and sekri
Kalabari TV wa sekri wani wa inete brekon teke Kalabari ngiseme pribia ama danga la megbuluma yeso wa inete brekon bia ankuma brekwa brabo wa pikine bebe ada wa bra puno teke me bo pre anya na wa bra puno teke pikisi me bo pre o ka budu
ano abe bra
wani wa sekri ane ekwempukume anibu wani lam bebe wani tafiji teke opreba wani kodi ba ani sme brabo wa inete ablala me tinke bo aprebe me wani te abu mjike swate yeke swate ani kudi teke na preba ani sme bra ane wani ke ena prebare ane wa sekri wa biba wa simete olikri
kenga ma Kalabari omete moko wabo ambe kunuma late wamne mbra confident dugo wapre wanate wamne Kalabari TV bre kampo a bre pela po a offre menjapo offre meke bo afrima wadugo pakama tonkri ingisama preba me bre mebo jumo boje nje dugo te bebe wabigi dugo wasama opreba omete ena yere munjo ekweme dabroma ebebo yere Dokubo Denton ena bigi miss to the mebo emibo ibi fete erebo tamno brana buma ore berebo
oko yere confidence Harry atike mi te mi ekwempo me dabroma te ko na prianga ne Kalabari TV studio Port Harcourt o wani na sote o wani bi se me ke meji choko choko o mi